Welcome back everybody, I hope you're having a beautiful day. It's an amazing day today because we're reading some more Malicious Compliance. Such a beautiful subreddit. I've been so excited to get back on here since the last episode. And even though we do a lot of episodes on this, I feel like we don't do enough. And yeah guys, I hope you're having a beautiful day or a beautiful night. And I hope you're ready for this. Enjoy guys. You want me to get the attention of your husband's commanding officer? It's your funeral. So, over the past few days, I've become friends with a retired army officer that I'll call Belle. She's been delighting me with stories of her service and shared this wonderful story that I think you'll enjoy. Names and some details have been changed to protect the innocent. Belle was a young second lieutenant at her first posting. As she put it, my college diploma hadn't even arrived in the mail and I was scared as hell. Fortunately, she got on the NCO's good side and settled in pretty nice. One afternoon, she was at work when in storms an officer's wife, quote unquote looking like she was in the mood to cause hell. Belle keeps her head down trying to stay busy when she hears the dreaded words, "I'm talking to you, soldier." Belle looked up and saw the woman. Let's call her Karen because why not? Standing in front of her. "Can I help you, ma'am?" Belle asked. "Yeah, I'm Major I'm so important's wife and I need to speak to Colonel Stone. Do you have an appointment? He's busy." Belle asked. "Just go get him. I'll stand right here until you do." Belle looks around wondering what the hell she's supposed to do. She didn't want to risk her job because Colonel Stone was known around the base for having a fierce temper. "I'll have you knocked back down to private if you don't do as I say," Karen shouts. "Now move." Wanting to get away, Belle got up and walked towards the Colonel's office, intending to get away for a long enough coffee break that Karen will forget. When she looked back, she says that Karen is watching her like a hawk, so there goes that plan. Colonel Stone's door is shut and Belle knocks on the door. "Yes," Colonel Stone barked. "Sir, it's Second Lieutenant Belle Smith," she said. "Come in." Belle opens the door, does the customary salute, and he immediately notices how nervous she is. "What is it?" "Major I'm so important's wife is here and she wants to speak to you," Belle said, her voice squeaking. "Does she have an appointment?" "She just said to get you and that she wouldn't leave until you saw her." "I see. Did she threaten to knock you down to private?" "She did." Colonel Stone nodded and then said in a voice that scared Belle, "Send her in." Belle salutes and then goes back to Karen. Karen looks absolutely smug. "He'll see you now," Belle said. "See, now that wasn't so hard, was it?" Karen said, strolling over to the Colonel's office. It's at this point that a first sergeant named Sanders comes in. He just sits down as the office door closes. He counts down in a low voice. 3, 2, 1. "What the hell were you thinking?" Colonel Stone shouted. For a good 5 minutes, he proceeds to tear Karen a new butthole, telling her that she isn't permitted to wear her husband's rank and that if she ever tries pulling anything like that again, her husband will be busted down to private faster than he could sneeze. Karen left the office like a bat out of hell, white as a sheet and quaking. Belle never saw her again, but she and the Major got divorced shortly after. According to Belle, he realized what a liability she'd be to his career. Oh, the audacity. That's so frustrating. Like, my husband is a high rank, so that means I'm going to be awful to everybody. No, but doing stuff like this is so cringe. I'm going to boss you around and be a bad person because I'm more powerful. And I feel like when people do stuff like this, they think they look super cool, but they're just being an a-hole. The next one is called Karma is a Biatch, and so was she. Cross-posted elsewhere. It being Christmas time reminded me of this. A story from quite a few years ago. From when I was a bartender in a corporate-style cookie-cutter restaurant. I mostly work nights, but I had one regular mid-shift on Fridays. We were always super busy at the bar for lunch on Fridays, and usually had quite a few of the more workers coming in to eat and then head back to work. Nearly every Friday, the same smug, borderline rude lady came in for lunch. Every time she paid exact change, 0 tip, and maybe half the time she would complain over some minor inconvenience, and more than a few times got a comped meal. The more I had to wait on her, the more indignant and pissed I got. So, around Christmas time, I was out and about in the mall buying for family and friends. I picked out something nice for my girlfriend at the time, a sheer top which I thought would look amazing on her, decently priced with it being on sale too. Walking up to the cashier, I was a bit surprised to run into resting biatch face, whatever. In street clothes, I feel like she barely registered who I was, or maybe she really didn't care who was at her register, maybe both. So I hand her a $20 bill, she examines it for a moment, turns it over twice, held it up to the light even, then out comes the counterfeit pen marker, thinking to myself, a bit excessive, no? The change should have been around $1. Surprisingly, she hands out $81 plus change. She calls next in line, so I step to the side for a moment in contemplation. I could honestly feel the devil on one shoulder and the angel on the other. It took me a moment or two, but I finally let my moral compass win and I stepped back in front of the register. I nicely explained that there was a mistake made, but before I could even continue, she shot me down and briskly told me in a semi-professional tone to get the hell out. So So I did. The way I look at it, all those lost tips and the money she just gifted me was just karma. Sucked to be her, I guess. Oh my god, that's so awesome. Could you imagine if they did this on purpose? And they're like, you know what? I feel bad about this. Here's $81 in change. Like, they definitely didn't do it on purpose, but that would be so funny. But yeah, hell yeah, that's good karma. And yeah, you did feel bad and you were like, you know what? I need to try and do the right thing here. But yeah, they were not going to listen to you, so you pretty much had to keep it. Hell yeah, OP. The next one is called Act Like a Jerk. Paid the stupid tax way back in the late 1900s. During some of my high school years, I worked at a location of the restaurant chain prophesized in Demolition Man to one day be the victor of the fast food wars, along with several other buddies from school. In those days, one could purchase a taco in hard or soft shell form for 79 cents. Shell, meat, lettuce, cheese. If you wanted the supreme version, which added tomatoes and sour cream, it cost 99 cents. If you wanted to add sour cream to any menu item, it was a 25-cent upcharge. Many people would come in and order a taco with sour cream added, and generally we'd repeat it back as a taco supreme, no tomatoes, knowing that ringing it up this way saved the person 5 cents. Shocking life hack that most people don't know. If anybody asked, we'd explain why we rung it up that way, and most folks were cool about it, but sometimes, and sadly more frequently than one would hope for, you'd have the jerks who just couldn't comprehend things like logic. That's not what I ordered, etc. Nowadays I believe they would be called Karens. Back then we just called them C-words. When we encountered those people, it wasn't worth my barely minimum wage to try to explain things like economics or basic math to people way above my pay grade, so we'd just say, sorry about that, I'll correct it, and then ring it up exactly how they ordered, widely known as the stupid tax. Yeah, it's entirely petty and mostly insignificant when it was only 5 cents per taco, but we were teenagers working part-time at a Taco Bell. What do you expect? Wow, that's so interesting. Like, yo, that's not what I ordered. Yeah, you're saving me money and I don't even realize it, but I'm gonna be rude for no reason. I feel like you did the right thing, OP. The next one is called Just Fix the Truck. On my first enlistment in the army, I was a mechanic. In our unit, we had 3 staff sergeants for some reason. Sergeant T was on the last year of his contract and would be retiring. He was assigned as the motor supply sergeant, a position that was made up so he could ride the pine since we were overstaffed. Sergeant G was assigned as the maintenance supervisor and oversaw the preventative maintenance and repair of the vehicles in the motor pool. The third one was our platoon sergeant and doesn't feature in the story. Every Monday, the vehicle operators will come to the motor pool to perform their weekly vehicle inspections. The mechanics would effect any repairs that were possible at the time, like changing out burnt bulbs, stuff that was easy and could get the vehicle rolling. Then we begin performing repairs to any vehicle that had a deadline deficiency, a deficiency that needs to be repaired before the vehicle can be operated. These don't necessarily mean the vehicle isn't operational, just that operating the vehicle in that condition can cause greater problems, and then we'd fix the rest. Usually on Friday we'd order any parts that we needed to repair that was left. After the operators left on Monday, the inspection sheets were divided up between the mechanics and then we got to work. One week I had a fairly easy workload and I got all of my sheets finished by Wednesday. There was only one vehicle that had a deadline deficiency left and the rest were ordering parts. The vehicle in question had been taken by the operators every day. I called the unit to let them know that the vehicle had a deadline deficiency and it needed to return to the motor pool. They were short on vehicles and long on work and had been stalling, so I informed my squad leader and I left it at that. I went to the office and I began ordering parts. When my work was completed, I would assist other mechanics with theirs. Sergeant G walks in and asked me why I was in the office, and I informed him that the rest of my work was complete and I was ordering parts. He asked to see my inspection sheets and started looking through them. I tried to explain about the one vehicle, but he cut me off and said that he'd see what the paper said. He saw the deadline deficiency and ordered me out to repair that vehicle immediately. I tried to object and explain the situation, but he cut me off again and ordered me to go out and fix the vehicle. I tried a third time to explain, and again he cuts me off and says, I don't want your effing excuses. I want your ass out on the line fixing that effing truck. If I see you doing anything else before it is fixed, it'll be an Article 15. An Article 15 is non-judicial punishment and can result in reduction of rank or forfeiture of pay. Yeah, Roger Sarge, I'm on it. I walked to the rack of manuals for the vehicles, pulled the appropriate one, and I found the size of the bolts on the part that needed changed. I got my wrenches and I head out to the assigned spot for the vehicle. I lay down right there, I raised my tools and I began making wrenching motions with my arms. I did this for over an hour with some breaks, of course. Those were some giant wrenches. I saw people looking at me and pointing. Eventually somebody went to Sergeant T and told him what I was doing, and he comes over to check it out. He watches me wrenching for a minute or two, head cocked. What are you doing, squirrel? Fixing this truck, Sergeant. It's got a deadline. He was looking at me real funny now, like I had heat stroke or something. Squirrel, you do realize that the truck ain't here, right? Sarge, I know this and you know this, but Sergeant G doesn't want to hear my effing excuses. He wants my ass out out on the line fixing this effing truck. Sergeant T told me to get up and get back to work. I told him that G threatened an Article 15 and he said that he'd take care of it. I took a smoke break to give them time to resolve the issue before I went back to the office. I'm not sure what Sergeant T said, but G had a scowl on his face when I came back to order my parts. I can't get enough of reading this subreddit. I'm so glad you guys enjoyed these episodes because they're so fun to make. You, a senior citizen military veteran, can handle my hyperactive 7-year-old. Be my guest. This happened years ago with myself and a friend and my then boyfriend and his daughter. We couldn't do much for toys for this particular Christmas, but our family was nominated for an event called Shop with a Veteran. It's where kids go into Walmart with a veteran and can pick out their own Christmas gifts with a set amount of money donated by civilians and other veterans. The thing is, only the veteran can go with them. I'd later found out that it was because some parents had earlier tried to persuade their kids to get things that were more catered to the parents or another child instead of the child who was nominated. I can definitely understand the rule for this, but some children should have their parents with them. My boyfriend's daughter was diagnosed with pretty severe ADHD and had taken her medication, but she'd gotten very excited when she found out about going to get Christmas gifts of her choosing. We found the lady hosting and we explained to her about the daughter's ADHD and how she can be a whirlwind when she gets excited, and also how she doesn't like to listen to people that she doesn't know. When we explained to the lady hosting the event that one of us should go in with his daughter just to make sure that she behaved, she understood and talked to the veteran who was going to shop with the daughter. He immediately argued, claiming he was tired of parents wanting to pressure their kids to get something that they didn't want, and he wanted the daughter to have a good time picking out her gift. The lady tried to explain the situation, but the veteran wouldn't hear any of it. I clearly remember him grumbling at us, "I've been to war, I can handle a kid." Well, in that case, after the veteran took the daughter into the store, we saw two friends going in that we didn't know would be there, but we were happy to see them. My boyfriend caught up with them and asked one of them if they could keep an eye on the daughter and the veteran. My boyfriend then emphasized that the veteran clearly thought he could handle his daughter, so let him handle her. We waited for about an hour when the veteran returned with the daughter. She was grinning ear to ear at all the presents she was able to get. The veteran looked exhausted and like he'd been through hell. He then yelled at us that the daughter was the most disrespectful brat that he'd ever met, how she had to touch all the toys and throw everything she wanted into the shopping cart, and she was a nightmare when he told her that she couldn't have everything she picked out. My boyfriend packed his daughter's gifts in the car and then took her back inside to start our grocery shopping. We couldn't do it while she was in there with the veteran because we had to wait outside for when they were done, so we could immediately take her and her gifts. Understandable, they weren't babysitters. I decided to talk to the veteran and I told my boyfriend that I'd meet him inside. I asked him if he was okay. He said he was fine, but why didn't we tell him that our daughter was crazy? I corrected him by saying that she was not crazy. I explained her ADHD to him and how we only wanted to go in with them so she would behave. We know that she knows how to behave around us and school and grandma's house, how she doesn't like to listen to strangers, even if we know them and she doesn't. I apologized and I told him that not all parents want to go in to use this as an excuse to get their own gifts. Some genuinely just want to make sure that their kids behave. Later in the store, our friend caught up with us and told us everything that happened. The daughter had run up and down the toy aisle. She kept going back and forth from the toys to the cart, throwing in anything she could get her hands on. She even screamed at the veteran when he put some of the toys back. Typical behavior when her normal authority figures aren't watching. When she was satisfied with the toys that she did get, she kept on asking for candy at the checkout, which she asks anybody for when we go to the store. It was amusing to us that a grizzled military veteran was outmatched by a hyperactive 7-year-old. We've since then been better off and we donate money to this event every year, and even toys for any toy drive they have. The veteran still does the event, but he's more understanding when certain children need their parents to go with them. He does get the old pushy parent now and then, but he handles them rather than flat out denies that all parents go in. Yeah, like this comment says, "I've never been to war, but I have been around plenty of kids. Neither experience prepares you for the other." Yeah, like, oh, I've been to war, so I can handle this. I don't feel like they're comparable experiences, are they? Like, yeah, I get what they were trying to say, but it sounds like they definitely got a surprise with this. Upload everything to SharePoint. You got it. A number of years back, I worked for a company that was on a company-wide migration of most Office documents to SharePoint. It worked great for things like shared documents or sheets or contracts, but our department was working with large data sets. You can see where this is going. One day, the project manager of one of the projects I was on asked me via email to upload everything I had on the project to SharePoint. This is a real pain because there's tons of files and I'd rather not. Everything? Are you absolutely sure? There's a lot. He was sure. He wanted everything, so everything is what he got. Many thousands of data files, terabytes worth of stuff. I get a frantic call from IT. It wasn't meant for this. I tell him to talk to the project manager. They ask me why, and I just forward his email with the instructions to upload everything. Minutes later, a company-wide email goes out saying that SharePoint is for documents and spreadsheets spreadsheets only. Yeah, like the top comment says, it's always the project manager, just do what I told you, and then it all goes sideways. Been a few since I worked with SharePoint, not missing it at all. What's that, project manager? You want everything? Yeah, okay. The next one is called Manager Kept on Forgetting My Break. I worked in a cafeteria on campus at my university. It was wonderful because I could take shifts around lectures and I didn't lose any time traveling. The manager used to sit in her office on the phone or just disappear for long periods of time. I didn't mind because I liked my other co-workers and she left us alone to do our thing. I always volunteered to do the closing shift because the owner let me take home all the leftover food. It pretty much kept me and my housemates alive and we were very grateful. The problem was, on a 5-hour or longer shift, you had to take a 30-minute break. I'd always ask when mine was, but she'd always say later, we're too busy. I'd usually end up working the whole 5 hours. I didn't mind until I realised she was only paying me for 4.5. I asked her about it and she said that if I didn't take my breaks, that wasn't her problem. Oh, the audacity. This absolutely is your problem. You're the one saying to not take their breaks. Yeah, cue the malicious compliance. My next closing shift was 4.5 hours of opening hours and finished 30 minutes after closing. Everyone else went at 7, but I stayed back to myself to clean everything in 30 minutes. It was a big job, but I had it down pat. The entire shift I kept asking her if I could take my break and she kept on saying no. So at 7 I took my apron off and I walked out, saying that I'll be taking my break now since we were too busy before. I sat in the cafeteria and I watched her clean that entire place. It took her well over an hour. The next day she had a break schedule up. Yeah, good on you, OP. That bit where they said if you didn't take your breaks, that wasn't her problem. God, that's so annoying. And like the top comment says, I love this, but you should still do something about the wage theft. That's very serious. Okay, I feel like we should read one more for today. The boss wants me to stand in the corner. Okay. Years ago, I was a photographer at a major theme park and I work with the characters on an almost daily basis. Our famous character is a mouse that owns the whole park. Everyone who worked there either referred to him as boss or Mr. Mouse around guests. For the purposes of this post, I'll refer to him as boss. One morning, I was assigned to work with the boss. He was in a mischievous mood and being an overall goofball. I enjoyed this and so did our guests and the character attendants. One of his favourite things to do when he was in a mischievous mood was to try to pass me the autograph books he'd signed, conveniently ignoring the fact that I had my hands full with a camera. As I went to take them, he'd drop them and run away, making a laughing motion. So we're with this family and boss does his usual pass the autograph books to the photographer stunt. He holds them out expectantly and I said, I'd love to, boss, but you know I don't know my ABCs. At this point, the boss drops the books, takes my hand, moves me to a corner and points to the floor, telling me to stay like I was a naughty child. Malicious compliance mode activated. Okay, I guess I'm grounded, I said, pouting. Everyone at this point is howling with laughter, even our head manager, Diane, who had stepped in to watch. So, boss continues this interaction with the family. Now at the end of the session, we have the family pose with the character. So boss gets everybody together and poses with the popular ta-da, except there's no photographer. After a moment, the boss motions to the family to wait and stomps over to my corner. I'm fighting back a grin at this point as he turns me around, points to my camera and then held his hands up as if to say, what gives? Boss, you told me I'm grounded, remember? I said with a sweet innocent smile. It's at this point that Diane pipes up with, that you did, Mr. Mouse. Boss playfully drags me back to my spot and poses again. We get the photo and we send the family on their way. Diane stepped out with them and offered to send them through again to get more pictures because I didn't take many on account of me being grounded. The family accepted, although the dad, who had tears in his eyes at this point, said it was the hardest he's laughed in a long time. To this day, it still brings a smile to my face. Oh, so we're ending the episode on a wholesome post. Thank you for posting this, OP. That was so good. And yeah, on that note, that's enough malicious compliance for today. Definitely wholesome memes time. Mismatched socks normally give me anxiety, but not today. Oh, that's so beautiful. They're like two pieces in a puzzle, meant to be together. Yeah, cats are so beautiful. Here are some pictures of my dog dancing. Oh, beautiful puppy. Once again, thank you for sharing these. We need more positive and beautiful stuff like this on the internet. You love to see it. My girlfriend explaining to me why we're perfect for each other. Me who has already decided to propose to her. Oh, that's so beautiful. That might be the most beautiful one yet. Congratulations. I hope you're happy together forever. And on that absolutely beautiful note, thank you for watching, everybody. I hope you had a wonderful time. And if you did and you want to see more episodes like this, make sure you like and subscribe. And the comment of the day today goes to Invader May the 1st. I'm literally about to take a nap because I've overdone it today. So this is perfect timing for me to relax and wind down beforehand. I hope you're doing well, Vincey. Oh, I'm so glad and I hope you enjoyed the episode. And also I hope the day after this was good. And yeah, thank you. I'm doing super well. I hope you are too and I hope you guys are too. Thank you for asking, Invader May. today, having a good time making fun videos. And yeah, let's do it again tomorrow, shall we? Make sure you look after yourself and make sure you have a beautiful, amazing rest of your day. And you know what I'm about to say because I say it every single day. Bye!